whatever you want in food. Local food gets you that.
The Bribris are very responsible with nature.
Chicken. They're social and intelligent, just a different intelligence.
Welcome to Save My Planet. I'm Stephen Brooks here in Costa Rica. Sustainable farming is an important part of life here. Everything from fruit to coffee, they're growing it in sustainable ways. Indigenous communities have been doing it for centuries, like the Bribri, but we'll check in with them later. What about where you live? Have you ever wondered how the food you eat impacts the planet? And it's not just how the food's grown, it's also where it comes from. Grapes from Chile, strawberries from Mexico, the fuel used to transport your food to market can leave a big carbon footprint. So imagine the benefits of eating only what's produced within 100 miles of where you live. There's a growing group of people doing just that. They're called locavores.
I like to eat. I mean, I think I kind of, I carry that around with me more than I like to sometimes. I got this idea that, well, could we eat all of our food? Could we kind of survive living off of the market from here? And I kind of convinced my family, well, let's live like we would, if there wasn't grapes being flown in from Chile, if there wasn't, year-round strawberries. If we can get it locally, then we eat it only locally.
Wait a minute. What about food that just can't be grown locally?
But it doesn't mean we don't drink coffee and we don't have olive oil and, chocolate and, there's all sorts of things, spices, we're not trying to limit ourselves. And I'm a really big believer, in the sense of don't make yourself nuts trying to eat local.
Well, that's a relief.
We're doing it for a lot of reasons. We do it, I think, more than anything for the food, in the sense of how it tastes and the quality of the food, but we do it for the environmental reasons, and we do it for the fact that we like to support people in our community. And the thing that I always tell people is that whatever you want in food, whether it's how you want your animals treated, farming practices, local food gets you that. It lets you eat food the way it's supposed to be eaten. The best reason to eat local is the quality of the food. A new potato is literally a new potato. Cherries just don't have to come from a can. This is what a tomato is supposed to look like. This is a yellow zebra. Do you see anything that looks like this at the grocery store? If you're growing a tomato and it has to be shipped across the country, they got to pick those tomatoes green, and also they're growing the kind of tomatoes that are meant to package nicely. And not only does it have to be shipped, but then it's got to go from transportation center to transportation center.
But wait a second. Transportation only counts for about 10% of the total carbon footprint of food production.
So what? You still, if you can affect the amount of distance that it takes, for the food to reach you, you're making a significant impact on the environment. All the reasons we talked about for eating local, they don't go away, when the market closes up. So you need to do things to eat local year-round. A lot of our meat, we're getting local. We bought a half a hog we have in our freezer, bought a half a cow. There's like a story and a message, behind your food. Eating becomes a much more meaningful act. You can get some of those tomatoes we saw over there and some of the peppers, the cheese from there, and a bread like this, and you're in business.
As the saying goes, think globally, act locally. Or as Rob might say, eat locally. It can have a really big impact, and it's not that hard to do. Talk to your grocer about where your food comes from. Shop at your local farmer's market, plant a garden, and if you have really big ambitions, you can try and raise some animals, even in the city. We'll check that out next. The average meal in the U.S. travels more than 1,000 miles before it reaches your plate. Eating local is a great way to reduce that carbon footprint. Here are a few tips on how to get your food close to home. Join a community garden. Eat at restaurants that serve locally produced food. And avoid out-of-season fruit. Strawberries, because you live in the city, doesn't mean you can't raise your own eggs. More and more urban dwellers are starting to raise chickens in their own backyards and gardens. Raising a flock is a great way to reconnect with food you eat and reduce some of the waste that goes into food production. Let's head over to New Orleans and check it out.
Everyone can contribute to their own food production. Even if you have a very small place, you can have a chicken or two.
If you have a chicken, it takes care of the earth.
This girl here contributes to the environment because she's, cleaning up my weeds, giving me manure to go into my compost, which is back in my garden, whereas the industrial cycle isn't a cycle, it's linear.
We bought this house as close to the river as we could, and we bought the smallest house we could on a large lot so that we could grow a lot of food. So the front yard is for the public, it's for neighbors, but the backyard back here is for the chickens. When I was coming up, we had chickens. We had a huge chicken yard with all these crazy varieties. I guess I always sort of wanted that.
Chickens love to hang out under the grapefruit tree, and that's good for the grapefruit tree too, because they will poop, which helps fertilize the grapefruit tree. They also love to scratch. The scratching does two things. It gives it a little bit of aeration, but it also keeps the weeds down. They also help with bugs that might attack the tree.
Of course, one of the best things about raising chickens is the fresh eggs you get. But you gotta keep those hens happy.
The chicken coop was made of scraps of wood we had laying around the yard.
There's one in there. You want to get it?
The nesting box is probably the most important thing to a chicken. They love having a special place to go nest.
These are nice, fresh, clean eggs that are very tasty. Now, one of the differences between eggs you'll get from an industrial farm and eggs that we get in our yard is that you can see they don't spread out all around the pen because they're very fresh.
And they taste better too. Frank and Laura aren't the only one in on the action. Phil Soule brought a whole bunch of chickens downtown. Got their whole neighborhood involved.
This is actually part of an urban community garden here. Neighbors come in to see what's going on. Classes come out here who are doing gardens. Farms? Oh, there you go. A lot of urban kids have never seen live chickens. The chickens actually work really hard for them in the garden here because they control the weeds. Once in a cold throw their coop them to eat, they eat up seeds, they eat roots, they peck through it until it's completely dead. That material is converted into manure, which I then compost. You know what compost is? Well, when the chickens poop, I pick it up and I put it in a pile over there with some dead plants, and it rots. And it's, really the traditional means of fertilizing an organic garden.
So no joke, I can have my own flock in the city?
All you really need about, 20, 30 square feet. If you only wanted to say 2 hens, then you should not have less than 2. They don't like being alone.
What about the city restriction? They complain about chickens.
Different areas have different ordinances about raising chickens. Some cities are considered to be livestock, and there's certain regulations about that. Other places are considered to be pets.
Every municipality has its own rules and regulations.
I don't think that having roosters in an urban environment goes over very well.
But that's okay. You'll get plenty of eggs out of rooster. The only problem is what to do with them all.
I produce a lot more than I would normally consume myself, so I'm able to take some of my excess vegetables and eggs and trade for fresh seafood. All of the chickens have personalities. They develop their own little hierarchy. It's a lot of fun. It keeps me involved. It makes me aware of where my food is coming from.
Everything we do here is kind of contributing to being more sustainable. Smaller footprint, small house, small people.
Interested in your own block yet? Well, it's not that expensive. A bag of feed only costs about $20, and little chicks only about $1 a piece. You can order them online. Come Sunday morning, we fry up those eggs. You'll probably be happy with your investment. Up next, we'll meet some indigenous people of Costa Rica who have been living off land for centuries, the Bribri.
At the crossroads of an entire hemisphere, it's a land where the forces of nature converged to create amazing new life forms and brilliant new ways of living. A land of astounding natural beauty and innovative people who are reshaping their lives with 21st century technology, a commitment to transform the future. Beauty beyond description, vision beyond expectation. Costa Rica, no artificial ingredients.
Welcome back to Save My Planet. When it comes to living green, we have so much to learn from our cultures. Take the indigenous Bribri people of Costa Rica. They've practiced sustainable living for centuries and even figured out a way to share this tradition with the rest of the world. I'm here with Cecilia Morris. She is the Director of Sustainable Tourism for Horizonte's Nature Tours. And we're in Coldy Nature Reserve with the Bribri indigenous people.
The Bribris are a very important indigenous group from Costa Rica. They mostly live in the Caribbean side of our country. There are around 25,000 in this area. Their main activities are related to agricultural activities, also to the handcraft production. They represent the real Costa Rican people.
So how do horizontals get involved in Ecoled and the ENS project?
The project is being developed by a social responsibility group, and Horizontal is working in how to open new markets in the tourism market. It's not easy to make a mix between how to preserve the culture and how to get money. So this project will try to train people on how to sell it in different ways, what they produce, and how they can survive with this business, but also without losing the cultural meaning. They mostly work with fruit called Rica, and they make different objects for their use and also as an object for decoration.
Here I am with my Bribri friends right outside their home. They're actually planting these gourds to make the art with. What's so amazing is that you think about the materials they need to make their crafts. They're growing right outside their home. Perfect. What easy commute. Traditionally, they didn't have water bottles, so the way that they would move water around, long hikes, trips, would use these gourds as water holders. They just make a hole up here on the top, clean out with a stick, and then dry it out. They find uses for everything. And what's incredible is all this waste that this inside seed and the guts of gourd are then they're fed to the pigs and chickens. Nothing goes away.
The Bribris are very responsible with nature. They just took things that the nature need.
So here we are collecting another plant that grows abundantly near their homes. In Bribri they call it senko, or Panama hat palm. ¿Cómo lo coces? ¿Cómo lo hace?
Uno corta,
Okay. Basically what they're doing is you see how these leaves kind of fan out. What they're using is where the new leaf is just coming out. So what they do is they take this yellow part of the leaf, they actually boil them. After they boil them, they put them in the sun to dry. Then they make these awesome things. They're going to go chat next. So those Panama hat palm leaves that we saw actually turn into baskets like this. There's some they've been making for thousands of years. It's only recently that they're actually now selling them to tourists. Y estos diseños, tú entras, tienes como una libra con los... She just has these images and then she's able to draw these beautiful designs. What Cecilia does is she really makes sure that the communities are benefiting from the art that they're making. It's a really important job.
Yes, it's very important because there's people that are sometimes they lie
Right.
to the communities, and they took the products.
And they sell them for a lot more, and it's a little bit of money in the community. So
Yes.
to really make sure that the money that comes in for the handicrafts actually stays in the community and mix it not to the community, but to actually the women that make it. But you're also trying to find a large market for them to sell their crafts. So it's really important.
Yes, it's very important, and the people are very open. They're really interested in knowing what is behind the product, the story behind product. Treasure, that means that the handcraft is not just a hikara.
Right.
It
No,
means
it's treasure. I
culture.
agree. Yeah, it really is. A very, very common tree around here in Spanish is called guarumo. And they take the trunk and dry it, and Costa just rolls it on her knee to make the thread. Yeah, it's natural for them. Her grandma taught her mom. We can't lose this, she said. Can't lose this. It's so great that they can take the incredible culture that they have and now have second come into their families. This is a very unique form of art, and it's really important that this continues. And mother to daughter to granddaughter, this knowledge is being passed from generation to generation and really preserving an important part of Bribri culture. Up next, we'll see how the Bribri have come up with a way to replenish one of their favorite food sources, iguana. Welcome back to Save My Planet. The indigenous Bribri people of Costa Rica have managed to hold on to their eco-friendly way of life for centuries. They've also gone to great lengths to protect and replenish one of their most important resources, the green iguana. Here we are at the Costa Iguana Reserve, and what a magical place. I'm here with my dear friend Gloria, and so much history. Why? ¿Por qué empezaste este proyecto de las iguanas?
Porque hace 20 años ya estaba desaparecido. Y nosotros los indígenas necesitamos iguana para enseñar nuestra cultura. También usamos la iguana, antiguamente la grasa se usaba para medicina, la piel para artesanía, y ahora pues la conservamos para que siempre se mantenga en el medio ambiente.
¿Por qué estaban desapareciendo los iguanas?
Porque la gente empezó a cortar bosques de quiera de cacao y cazarlas. Entonces con esto está desapareciendo.
And as they started to disappear, Kepler found, we could raise the animals and liberate them into the forest, really bring back the population. So now we're going to go check out the process. Vamos a ver el proceso. This is where the process begins. Every March, they put the eggs in here. So every iguana gives around 30 eggs. From all the iguanas that have in one season, they have up to 1,000 iguana eggs. That's a lot. So after 4 months here, the iguanas hatch, and then they're taken to the next station. Let's go see that. Entonces, Gloria, ¿aquí qué está pasando?
Estas son los bebés que tienen 5 meses. Aquí van a durar 2 años y pues se van.
The reason why they keep them in here while they're small is because you have chickens and snakes, different animals that will eat them when they're small. So they keep them here, they have a better chance of survival. So beautiful.
5 meses.
5 months old this is. Look at these colors, it's so incredible. See like little blue specks. So bonita. It's incredible, there's iguanas all around here, like right in the trees. So they basically have these three stations where they have the eggs where they had, and they bring them to one cage for a year, and the next year you're gonna have new babies which go into this. It's like almost going on deck to be breed. So here, these iguanas are now 2 years old and pretty much ready to let go. Entonces, los grandes y los pequeños no pueden estar juntos. Porque pelean. So the big one and the small can't be in the same cage, they'll fight. It's really good to do this because they have a really good chance of survival because they're set free, already strong. Ahora vamos a ver los grandes. Now we're gonna go check out the big ones. All right, we're going inside. Entonces, pero sí, aquí pueden salir.
Y a veces ya salen, pero se pelean.
Well, she's saying that the iguanas are, now able to leave and come as they please, but they're always coming back because they're very well taken care of. They mate here, and then they put up boxes where they end up putting their eggs, and then they move the eggs into the hatchery. In the last 20 years, they've raised over 35,000 iguanas. They don't pay her to this work. She does this really just for the love of the animal and the conservation, and really from her heart. In our mind, often the work equates money and salary. What's just so beautiful is that the Bribri people, they do this work really just for the love of the earth, the love for these animals. And that's a really, really beautiful story. Costa is the only group that's really doing this kind of work, and people from all over the world and all over Costa Rica can come here and experience conservation really at its finest. That it's so important for this area, it's so important for the animal. It's really, really incredible work, and gracias por el trabajo que estás haciendo aquí, de verdad. The help of the Bribri, the green iguana have been brought back from near extinction in this part of the world. Talk about saving the planet. I'm Stephen Brooks. See you next time.
At the crossroads of an entire hemisphere, a land where the forces of nature have converged to create amazing new life forms and brilliant new ways of living. A land of astounding natural beauty and innovative people who are reshaping their lives with 21st century technology and a commitment to transform the future. Beauty beyond description, vision beyond expectation. Costa Rica, no artificial ingredients.